Hey guys, Chris here, and I'm a Ukrainian Canadian. Today is June 7th, 2024, and let's get to the news happening in Ukraine, shall we? So this is going to be a very quick update. I'm not going to go over the map updates today because there's really nothing to talk about, no real changes. So just a quick update as to what happened in the last few days, and with some breaking news just in for today. The Ukrainians struck again Luhansk city, and they struck a very important Russian military base that was located very close to the airport. And if you might remember, last week, the Ukrainians struck the airport where the Russians had placed some of their air defense systems. I think a complex of S-300s and S-400 and the radar system that the Ukrainians struck with ATACMS ballistics. And so here you can see that the Ukrainians struck Luhansk again. Now, why are they striking Luhansk? It's because of its proximity to Russia. In the past, the Ukrainians simply had very limited abilities to strike Luhansk city. They're very far away from Luhansk. It's very close to Russia, and you really do need long-range missiles to be able to hit Luhansk at this point. And so now that the Ukrainians have the ballistics from the United States, they also have Storm Shadows and the Scalps, which are literally the same. They can strike Luhansk, and it's a really major hub for the Russians right now. And you can see that this military base, if we're looking on the map, is actually right beside the airport. So the Russians have centralized a lot of their activities, military activities, in this area. So this was the airport that the Ukraine struck, I think, last week. And the military base, I think, is right around here. So really important hub for the Russians. Let's get back to the slide. You can see this is some of the first pictures from today. So this is the kind of red building. Probably was housing some soldiers, some commanders. And you can see how vast the facility is. It might have been a multi-usage facility, repair plant, storage plant. You can see that over here. There's a bunch of what seems to be armored vehicles, storage area, ammunition depot. So there's a lot of targets here to hit. So the Russians have been operating here, as far as I'm concerned, since 2015. There's the earliest images that we have from here with Russian soldiers is about 2015, 2016. So they've been operating here very freely without any worry, because they know that the Ukrainians in the past, they don't have the weapons to strike them, and now they do. And so I think there's going to be a lot more activity going on in Luhansk. In Donetsk, I mean, the Ukrainians are not that far away from Donetsk city, but Luhansk city much further away and very close to the Russian border. So for the Russians, this is a very logical city where they can transfer a lot of equipment, armored vehicles, set up their training camps, military camps, and bases. So I'm expecting a lot more hits in Luhansk city in the next few weeks / months. Now, the other good news for today is, well, it was yesterday, but following Zelensky's visit to France for the D-Day anniversary, the 80th anniversary, Macron, the French president, confirmed that he will be giving Ukraine and selling, it's not giving just for free, but selling the Mirage 2005 a multi-role jet fighter. So this is an old plane from the 70s, the late 70s, but we must admit that they're far more superior than what the Ukrainians currently have. The F-16s will come. They will come very soon, and I think Ukraine will receive about 100 of them in the next few months in total. But there's still a necessity to have jet fighters that are not as advanced and as expensive. And I think the Mirage 2000 really fills that hole that is missing, especially because Ukraine has a very aging fleet of Soviet jet fighters. The Su-24M, which the Ukrainians are currently using to launch the Scalps and the Storm Shadows, have shown their age. Also, Ukraine has a limited number. The repairs on them after a while are going to be difficult because Ukraine is lacking the parts. And so I think that the Mirage 2000 fills that gap really greatly. And also, you know, they're far more superior than what the Ukrainian Air Force has right now. The Soviet jet fighters are old. They don't have any like great technology, and they're slow, right? This Mirage 2000, the 2005, which is the latest variant as far as I'm concerned, has the top speed that is twice as fast compared to the Su-24M. So overall, this is a great announcement by France. Again, it's unknown how many Ukraine is going to be receiving of the Mirage 2000s, but certainly it's not going to be like 2, 3. It's definitely going to be at least a dozen. And I think that, you know, in the next few months, I can hope that the Ukrainians will be able to get the appropriate training. If they haven't started yet, maybe they've already started, it's just an official announcement, and they'll be able to fly them. Because I did notice that in the last few months, there's been a reduction in the amount of Storm Shadows and Scalps that were used and launched on Russian positions. And I think that this could be also related to the fact that the Su-24Ms, which the Ukrainians are using right now, they don't have as many of them. And obviously could be also related to the fact that Ukraine hasn't received that many Storm Shadows lately and Scalp missiles. But overall, I think that this is a great announcement, and I cannot wait to see the Mirage 2000s, which of course are old planes, but it's a great way to retire them in Ukraine. Last couple of years of flying in Ukraine, and they will do a lot of good. So great announcement. A huge thank you to France for providing, again, great weapons to the Ukraine military and Air Force. Last but not least, another great announcement from the United States today. Again, Zelensky was in France and Biden was there, as far as I'm concerned, and he made an announcement, or the US, the Biden administration confirmed that they will be providing Ukraine with a $225 million military assistance package, which will replenish the stocks of HIMARS missiles, which we know the Ukrainians fired over 300 of them in the last few weeks. Some 155 millimeter howitzers, some Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, which are really necessary as well in the front line. It's still rumored, it's not really confirmed how many exactly Ukraine will be receiving, but more M113 armored personnel carriers. We know the Ukrainians need that. They need those vehicles to be able to move safely to the front lines. More Javelins, AT-4 anti-armor systems, and TOW missiles for the Bradley IFVs. So overall, great package. And we know that the most important here is, of course, the HIMARS, because the Ukrainians will certainly use them to strike Russian territory in the next few weeks, right? They need to continue putting that pressure, and the Biden administration has given the green light. Well, I wouldn't say given the green light, but has kind of confirmed unofficially that Ukraine can strike Russia in a buffer zone of 300 kilometers within Russia. So essentially, they haven't allowed the Ukrainians to strike more than that, more than 300 kilometers. And of course, Moscow, as I've said in my previous video, Moscow, St. Petersburg, and other cities are off limits in terms of using American weapons to strike large Russian cities like St. Petersburg, Moscow, or other large cities further away. So that is the policy that the Biden administration has followed in the last few years. It's always kind of giving a little bit more, right? It's up to debate. You guys know my position. I think that this escalation management policy at this point is unnecessary. I think the Ukrainians have proven that whatever Russia's bluffing, whatever Russia's threatening with, especially nuclear weapons, is a bluff. But that's the way that the United States wants to conduct its policies against Russia. So fair enough, the Ukrainians don't really have a say because they are very reliant on American weapons. So overall, this is a great package, $225 million worth of military aid. And you can see that there's far more than just what I mentioned. There's more ammunition heading to Ukraine, night vision devices, demolition munition, patrol boats, trailers to transport heavy equipment, mortar systems, and more artillery rounds, which are definitely necessary. So that's the update for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Very quick. Overall, just really great news. And Ukraine continues to receive the weaponry to be able to start, changing the tide in its favor. So I think that overall this summer is really going to be important for the Ukrainians to rearm, get prepared, and stabilize the front line, which, as far as I'm concerned, that's what's happening right now, because the Russians, I'm not really seeing any big breakthroughs or success on the Russian side. So that's the update for today. A huge thank you for your support. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my updates, and I will see you guys in the next one. Slava Ukraini!